Hey everyone! Today we're diving deep into Nicole's leaked kit and what it could actually mean for her role once she arrives in Genshin Impact, because based on the information from recent leaks, she might end up being one of the most unusual Pyro supports we've seen so far. First, it's important to understand that Nicole is still quite far from release, which means everything discussed right now should be treated as early design direction rather than final numbers. But even at this stage, the concept already stands out. The biggest takeaway from the leaks is that Nicole is essentially designed as a shielded Pyro support who provides attack buffs through her base kit, while additional damage bonuses appear tied to her signature weapon or early constellations, which immediately creates comparisons to Bennett, except with a defensive twist. Unlike most Pyro characters that focus on raw damage or aggressive reactions, Nicole's identity seems centered around protecting the team while simultaneously increasing their offensive output. And that combination alone could make her extremely valuable depending on tuning. The leaks also mention that her base kit includes meaningful off-field damage, described at a level comparable to established off-field supports, meaning she wouldn't just buff and leave, but would continue contributing damage while your main carry is on the field, which is a huge advantage for rotation efficiency. Another interesting mechanic is the interaction with Hexerei-related teammates, where Nicole's buff duration can be extended based on Hexerei damage instances, suggesting her optimal teams may be designed around specific lore-connected characters rather than universal flexibility. And that design choice would explain why some leaks mention she may not be as universally plug-and-play as Bennett, even if her peak performance is very high. Her shield itself could end up being more than simple survivability depending on how it scales or interacts with Pyro application, because if the shield also helps enable reactions or maintains uptime during burst windows, it would dramatically increase her value in high-damage compositions where interruption resistance matters. Constellation information from the leaks also hints that some of her strongest damage amplification may be gated behind early constellations, with a note that her major buff activation at maximum constellation is burst start oriented, which implies her rotation could revolve around triggering her burst to unlock the strongest team bonuses before swapping into the main damage dealer. Team Synergy leaks specifically mention strong compatibility with Varka, which makes sense if his kit rewards certain elemental teammates or Hexerei connections. And in that scenario, Nicole could realistically replace Bennett in those compositions by providing attack buffs, protection, and additional damage contribution all at once. When you imagine her practical gameplay loop, it likely involves activating her skill to generate a shield and apply buffs, swapping to your primary carry for the main damage window while her off-field effects continue, then refreshing her abilities as needed to maintain uptime, creating a stable and safe rotation structure that minimizes interruption risk. Overall, the direction suggested by the leaks paints Nicole not as a primary damage dealer, but as a high-impact support designed to make teams more consistent, safer, and stronger during burst phases. And if the numbers land correctly, she could become one of the most influential support releases in the game for certain team archetypes, especially those tied to future characters. Of course, all of this is early information and subject to change, but the concept alone is already exciting because it breaks the usual Pyro design pattern and introduces a hybrid buffer protector role that the roster currently lacks. So it will be very interesting to see how much of this survives into her final release. Finally, if you want to enjoy more of this type of content, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.